Okay, good morning. So we're up to Siman Reish Ayin Vov Seif Beis. We're talking about when a non-Jewish person puts a light on for Yisrael, that we can't benefit from that melacha. So says the Mechab in Seif Beis, Yisrael ve'enam Yehudim shesebu yachat. So you've got Jewish and non-Jewish people all sitting together. V'hidlik eini Yehudi ner, and then the eini Yehudi puts on a light for all of those people sitting. So how do you deal with that? If the majority of people sitting there are not Jewish, then mutar lishtamish le'ira, because presumably he put it on for the Rov Einam Yehudim. V'im Rov Yisrael, but if, however, the majority of people sitting there are Yisrael, afilu mechza al mechza, or even if 50-50, then asa, then it's not allowed. V'im yesh chichacha sheletzarech ein Yehudi madlika, if there is some sort of indication that he put it on for one of the non-Jewish people there, that immediately after he put the light on, that someone is using the light to sort of, I don't know, to count money or to read something. Afal pi she'rov Yisrael mutar, because the whole point, it's just a hichacha, it's just telling us what he did it for. If it's majority Yisrael, then Mistami did it for Yisrael. If it's majority Akum, then he did it for them. But if he sees that even if it's Rov Yisrael, but there was a guy who used it straight away, then obviously he did it for that person.
That's still talking about a place that belongs to Jewish.
It doesn't seem to indicate any difference. In other words, wherever it was, that if there were a mixture of non-Jews and Jewish people sitting there, and a guy comes along and puts on the light for them, then regardless of where it is, that you've got to figure out why was he doing it. Is it for the Yisrael, which is a problem, or is it for the Akum, where it's actually okay? Says the Mishnah Berurah Sifkat Tesvav. Let's just stop. We'll stop there and we'll do the Ramah in a minute. Says the Mishnah Berurah Tesvav. Im Rov Einam Yehudim. What's the svara that it's asa? Sorry, that in that case, it's mutar. The mistama adaited the ruba kavid. Mistama is doing it for the majority. Fa'afilim achakach nisrabu Yisrael. Even if later more Jewish people come and it toisva lehen. Or some of the non-Jewish people leave, and suddenly the majority switches to become Rov Yisrael, then it's actually okay, because Lamaisa, when did he do the Malacha? He did it for Rov Einam Yehudim, which is okay. And so too you can have the opposite. Why is that a problem? It's not clear that he's doing it for the Einam Yehudim, and therefore we assume maybe there could be a problem. Or in Yehudi Ovid or Bishvil Yisrael Ovid, it's not clear who he's doing it for. Alternatively, you can say Mishum de Mechza Mechza Mistam L'Shem Shnehem Nasa. If it's literally 50-50, there's two Jewish people there, there's two non-Jewish people there. Mistami did it for all of them, and therefore that's a problem, because included in them is the Jewish people. Okay, Sheletzarech Einam Yehudim. Rotzolem Letzarech Atzmai. Uchad the Seif. V'adinim Yesh Echach Shehidlik Bishvil Ezi Yehudi Acher. If there's any indication he did it for he turned the light on for Yisrael, you've got a problem. Okay, and then we said that if there was a hichacha that he was doing it at Tzarech Ein Yehudi, for example, we see that any Yehudi used the light immediately afterwards, then it's a problem. It says in Mishnah Berurah Yudches Shemishtamesh Hanu Miyad Afal Pi de Mistamesh Shehidlik Mitchila Nami Ha'ika Daita Dedeika Ovid. Because if he did it for himself, then it's ner le'echod ner le'meh, and we're not worried. We're okay for Yisrael to benefit from it, because the Maisa, the non-Jewish person, did it for himself. Okay, let's do the Ramah now. Yesh oimrim demutar lo malein Yehudi lahadlik ner lesu'ud Shabbos. Very interesting. There are those who say that it's mutar to tell an Eina Yehudi to put on a light, l'tzorech suda Shabbos. If you're sitting in a dark room and you need light, you can tell a non-Jewish person to put the light on, according to the Yesh Omrim. Mishum desfir lei to mutar amir lein Yehudi afilu melacha gemura b'makom mitzvah. To tell the guy to do even a melacha gemura, which is lighting and putting on a light, b'makom mitzvah. She'al pi zeh nagu rabim lahokel b'davar. Many people are makel. Tzavos then Yehudi to instruct a non-Jewish person lahadlik neres l'tzorech suda to put the lights on or candles on l'tzorech suda. Beprat besuda chasna emila, especially when it comes to sudas mitzvah such as a chasna emila. Ve'ein meicha biyadam, you don't have to protest because there is what to rely on. V'yesh lahachmir b'makom she'ein tzorech gadol. One should try and be machmir when there's no great tzorech. The horei v'apoiskim v'cholkim al svar zu v'ayin lekam on siman shin zayin sifei. Good. Okay, let's do the Mishnah Berurah. Sif Cotton Chof. L'suda Shabbos. So according to the first opinion, you're allowed to tell an Ein Yehudi to put a light on L'suda Shabbos. Hainu. Pshita de'asa l'tzavos Ein Yehudi lahadlik lei. Sorry, I missed the line. Hainu she'yeshev b'choshech ve'ein lo shum ner lechol. He's sitting in the dark, and therefore he hasn't got any light there. Avol im gamar sudosei. But if he's finished his meal, avshadayin loy berech berachas hamazon, even though he hasn't benched yet, or she'yesh l'ner echod, or if he's got one candle, it's just a bit dark, then it's obvious that you can't, once you finish your Suda Shabbos, and that was the whole heter for it, so fine, so the rest of Shabbos you can sit in the dark. Because then it becomes a shvus, that means you telling a non-Jewish person to do this issa is a drabanan, it's asa, and it's not b'mokum mitzvah, so therefore there's no reason to do it. However, im yesh l'shum ner, if, however, it's tosefes hana, there is already a light there, then to tell the non-Jewish person to add an additional light is actually okay. That's quite useful to know. In other words, someone's had this at home, that the marshal, let's say, there's a difference between turning light on and turning light off. To tell, let's say you left your bedroom light on and you can't sleep, it's too bright. To tell the non-Jewish person to be meramis to him to turn the light off is actually okay, because the benefit is indirect. You're sort of returning to the natural state of darkness, and it's not considered actively benefiting from him. So if you leave your bedroom light on, to go and call the non-Jewish person and say, listen, I can't sleep in here, and not using the words light and not instructing him, beremez, that's okay. Turn the light on, then that's a problem, unless it's tosefes or. So for example, if there's already some light in the house, in the hallway for example, but you just didn't leave the dining room light on. So then if putting the dining room light on is tosefes or, and that would be okay. Again, al yidei remiza.
Only if you really need it, no?
Yeah, but it's dark in the dining room, it's darkish, you've got some light from the hall, let's say you've got a through room and the lounge is on, but the dining room is not, then that's tosefes or, and that would be okay. Al yidei remiza. Okay. Chaf Aleph. Amir le'en Yehudi. What's this going on? Bishum desfir leid. The muta Amir le'en Yehudi afilim lochagmur mokum mitzvah. The whole svar of this Yeshayim is that Amir le'nochri b'mokum shvus b'mokum mitzvah is allowed. Avos shvus to Yisrael atzmai. But for the Yisrael to put the light on, shvus for Yisrael himself, that's not allowed. A Jew can't do a derabonon just because it's a mitzvah, right? The whole heter here is that it's amir la'akum l'tzorech mitzvah, and it's in the mokum mitzvah. But livno space hakneses. Now you could extend this a little bit further. You could argue, what's the chiluk of asking the non-Jewish person to put the light on? Ask him to build the Beis HaKnesses. So when you've got a contractor who's, there was a whole tumult recently of or you ask a non-Jewish constructor to build, in for a penny, in for a pound, get him to build the shul on Shabbos. So v'livnei Beis HaKnesses b'Shabbos al yidei ein Yehudi kosev ha'mogen Avraham to asa, it's not allowed. Afilu l'das ha'itzur, even the itzur, who I think says that you're allowed to tell the non-Jewish person even to do an issa deraisa. Even he would agree that you can't get the guy to build the shul. Because it's not pressing. It's not, it's a mitzvah which is not going to pass. Your Suda Shabbos, once you missed it, you missed it. But the shul, okay, so they'll build it. It'll just be a bit slower. You can build it during the week. Even if the non-Jewish builders are paid by the job rather than by the hour, which is a better halachic way of doing it. If you're concerned that by delaying things it's just not going to happen, then al yidei kablonis it would be allowed. I.e., you pay them, $50,000 for the job rather than $100 a day. And it could even be that even if it's through schirus, i.e. you pay him $100 a day, rather than kablonis, if the Ein Yehudi is not accepting the kablonis contract, and he would accept the schiras, then even then that could be allowed. Okay, and then the Ramah says, "Ve'ein moiche biyodam." You don't have to protest against those people who rely on this to tell the any Yehudi to put a light on letzorech Shabbos. Umutzav shushogin v'ali mezidin, says the Mishnah Berurah Chaf Gimel. Better they be shogeg and not do mezid. She'ein, right? Then the Ramah says, "V'yesh lahachmir b'makom she'ein tzorech gadol." Says the Mishnah Berurah Chaf Daled, "Ushla hechmir af letzorech gadol." The shla is machmir. Even if it's a tzorech gadol, shekein ra noagim bekilas chashuvim, because we've seen many chashuva kehilas sheyeshim bechashech b'motzei Shabbos afilu bechasna ad she'amar hakal baruch hu. They don't rely on this, and even if it's motzei Shabbos, until they've said baruch hu, no one is, and hamav ben kodesh shechol, no one's going to permit telling the non-Jewish person to put the light on. V'chein noag hagon harash, that's Reishin, shekashosadim etzloi. When they came for Shalosh Judas, they also were machmir. Of the Prima Godim decided lahakal lahadlik hadei and Yehudi motzei Shabbos letzorech mitzvah. The Prima Godim was makel on motzei Shabbos letzorech mitzvah. Afshu adayin ben hashmoshes, even though it's still considered ben hashmoshes. The kolsh came be'erev Shabbos ben hashmoshes letzorech mitzvah, and certainly on the other end of ben hashmoshes, on Friday afternoon, Friday evening, the vaday mutter because the kam b'simin shemim beis ayin sham. Okay, yeah, that we've seen. Or we will see again, but to tell a non-Jewish person to light candles, let's say for example you pass shkia, so you can't light candles now, it's too late, to tell a non-Jewish person to light the candles is mutter on Erev Shabbos. Okay, so why should you be machwa? So the yesh lahachim makom tzorech gadol to haroiv hapoiskim cholkim al svar zu. Says the Mishnah Berurah, let's finish off, chafhei, mikol makom mutter leimal in Yehudi l'saken es erev. However, and this is important, you can tell the non-Jewish person to fix an eruv sheniskalkel b'Shabbos that came down over Shabbos, kadesh lo yavo rabim l'dei michshol, because that's preventing other people from carrying on Shabbos. Uchadai hu bal ho'itza lismech olav lahatish shvus da'amira afilu b'melacha deraisa mokum mitzvah derabim. In a situation like that, b'mokum mitzvah derabim, we can rely on the itur who allows you to tell the guy to do it even issa deraisa. Uchein zeh das ha prima godim le'el b'soif sifch kotten chaf beis. Okay, v'ayin lekaman rotzolem, but the shom gam kein mevua shedeloi kabal ha'itur. There's just an interesting note in 41. What else can you tell the non-Jewish person to do the tzorech mitzvah? So if you look, I'm just jumping to the bottom of paragraph 41, the bottom paragraph on the right-hand column. V'tzorech tefillah v'kriyas ha'torah letzibur kosu b'shal shuvas igros Moshe shenechshav mitzvah shel rabim. So that is considered the mitzvah shel rabim. V'lochein hitilem le'nochri L'chabos mazgan shemekarer ba'ofen shemafriya lemispalel. You want to tell the non-Jewish person to turn off the air conditioning. Yeah, one of the banes of shul life. Open the window, shut the window, aircon on, off. Yet you're allowed to tell the non-Jewish person to turn the aircon off. But Beis HaKnesses says, even if you've got a few people who are very cold, they can't go to shul because it's too cold. I know people, well, one person in particular, he won't go to a shul because the aircon is too much, and he'll get a cold, he'll get a sore throat. And therefore he'll go home. They won't daven b'tzibur, there won't be kriyas Torah. To also instruct the non-Jewish person to put on the light where many people are learning. Okay, and then he quotes the Orach Shabbos, who said in the name of Rabbi Kotler, Shehitzi lahadlik hazar b'beis hamedrash al yedei nochri mishum mitzvahs talmud Torah shel rabim. He would allow the Rabbi Kotler would allow to tell the caretaker, the guy, to put the lights on in the Beis Hamedrash because of the mitzvah shel rabim. So we've seen therefore different mitzvahs shel rabim, eruv, tefillah, sefer Torah, etc. However, me'idach le'inyan generator shel yeshiva shekava that went off. If the generator went off and then suddenly you haven't got any electricity in the shiva. Kosav Hagan Bel Yashiv, she'afal pi shebesefer Heishiv Moshe hevi sheish kilas shenagu lehakel v'ladlik alidei nachri mishum talmid Torah derabim, as per Rabbi Kotler above. Mikol makom lemaisa ein roi lahatzir. Rabbi Yashiv was a bit more hesitant about it. Kivin she'issa amir lenachri parrots b'inyanei habrius. People generally are a little bit more relaxed. It's a bit sort of out there. They're relaxed when it comes to telling the non-Jewish person what to do on Shabbos. V'hafsokas pulas generator havidavar motzui, and it's quite common the generators pack up apparently. V'im yadliku Talmid k'sheyich v'yavo lezalzel b'kach. He was worried about zilzul of, it was quite a common thing, the generator breaks, and therefore he was more reluctant. So that's debated. Aaron Kotler certainly was matzir, but that's the issue. Okay, well, let's leave it there.
Sure.